only the last one. This you can have everything. No, it's all thorough.
Led by former SHU graduate Dylan Strachan, SHU Club Soccer has made strides since he took over in 2016. Strachan has brought his competitive vision nature to the team of 30 and only plans on moving upwards.
But aside from knowing that there was a physical team itself, I didn't know their success rate. I didn't know really the major developments of the team. There's a handful of things that I took away from playing at the Division I level and sort of applied it into coaching, which I happened to start my coaching career almost at the very tail end of my actual undergrad time. So I started around early portions of 2015, where I started with goalie coaching. And both with Coach Joe Barroso, Rodrigo Nunez at the time, and Anthony, all of which gave me some proper light on how to act, how to hold myself as a coach, and really helped with significant growth. I think a lot of what I do now is thanks to having played at such a high level and having been able to experience competitive nature soccer at basically the highest the collegiate level offers in the United States.
See Tony.
Setting a historic first ever season with 10 games, SHU Club Soccer and Dylan Strachan continue to impress as they gain further recognition throughout their uphill journey.
Having gained not only recognition from the school, the student body, being one of the most active teams on social media, again finishing off at a near 500 record, only one loss in conference. Again, most of our points lost with ties, but nonetheless we had 2 wins and a handful of ties with only one loss at the very last game of the season versus ELA, who happened to be undefeated and also represent our conference at the regional tournament in Delaware. That being said, we have a lot of growing to do, a lot of maturing to do, more traveling to do. Definitely keep an eye out for that. But I think I'm proud to say that myself having taken over as head coach, manager, all these different roles combined into one, it's slowly become an important role recognizing the people behind it. I mean, there's between the captains, the bodies that have been around here since the transition period for me taking over, from the kids that are new, that are buying into the systems and program. I can't say enough about them. It's really been a help on me at having to juggle a lot of different things regarding it. And next year, it's hopefully only going to be a growth and further steps forward, hopefully making the regional pool. Start to finish, it is a very, very family-oriented program where from the top down, as far as captains that are leading from the front and making sure that it's led by example or led vocally, whatever's necessary, they try to make sure that they do so. For me, it's chemistry first, it's passion first, it's discipline and maturity, making sure you're really locked in, and although looseness and free-flowing nature of the game is certainly important, I really am very much a chess piece-oriented coach, where I do like the old school styles and the nitty-gritty nature of the sport, where it's more or less have to really dial in on the very specific disciplines of the sport, and very many different ways. We have a lot of growing to be done. The rest you can take off as a fun-oriented atmosphere. Again, it's supposed to be fun, but there can't be the messing around. There can't be the joking. I mean, joking's fine at times, and you want to make sure you're still light-natured, but to make sure discipline is overall achieved is really the goal. The discipline is high amongst the kids on the team, because for me, the most important thing ends up being how do we take this loose and I guess not so much disorganized, but loose and delicately handled team that was at some fractures ahead of my time, just with some basic familiarity, and turn it into a really strung together, proper foot forward type team where everything ends up being very well manicured ahead of any fixture. do we get up every morning and do we get up every opportunity that we get to make sure that we're putting our best foot forward and making it as competitive as we want it to be, and make sure that we're gaining the absolute highest level of competitiveness that we want to achieve. So for me, it's what you make of it. You can either treat it as low as you'd like, or you can show up every day and train as if it's a Division I program, and train as if it's an NCAA level program. That's the beauty of what we have. The most important thing is that we establish right away that we want to qualify for regionals. Nothing short of it. Anything short of that is really, for me, a borderline failure. Just because I know our talent, I know the people that we're dealing with. Our record this year and last year, for that matter, really signified that we are capable of achieving that. NYCFC has also been a fantastic sponsorship on ours. Maybe sponsorship's not the right word, but more or less a partnership. We found the opportunity for them to help and support in fundraising aspects. So to be friendly and to create a partnership with people within the executive level that allowed us to gain recognition, exposure, and proper partnership and fundraising opportunities is beyond massive. I mean, much more than we would ever suspect. Soccer and rugby also was nice enough to be integral in getting us travel gear, soccer bags, and all the necessary team gear that we would need to really look the part. I have the opportunity to integrate injury prevention and very competitive athletic lifts that will get us prepared for increase in agility, increase in power as a player, all the different things that an athletic dynamic player will need as a growing athlete. So we've had the chance this year to really designate a handful of hours a week to understanding free weights, understanding dynamic lifts that will set them up to hopefully be a stronger player. I definitely would like to be helpful in a feeder system. I'd like to help develop people to allow them to achieve their Division I dreams if they have those dreams, and in the event they want to play even further competitive than what we offer already at the club program. Again, not to take away from what we have, but that really is a pat on our shoulder and a step in the right direction, knowing that one, we're competitive, we're more than competitive enough. Two, we have the quality to train and to improve that is allowed to be noticed at such a clinic. At the Division I or Division II or III level, but for our sake it's Division I. Now it's important to understand that there's going to be some key components leaving this coming year at a handful of starting positions. But that being said, it's on myself, the commitment of the kids to really engage and find players to slip into those positions and fill accordingly, because there's no reason for us to take a step backwards. It should only be forward.
Come on!
So for me, there's no steps backwards. It's only continuing up. It's only continuing to preach qualifying for regionals, and if nationals is a part of that dream, I certainly would hope so. I'd like to get our team on a plane. That's a personal goal. I think that would be really exhilarating. I think a lot of people have really trusted who I am, what I stand for, and my personal soccer philosophies. I can be really hard on people, but I make sure to do it with a constructive light, and make sure that there is certainly joy and fun in the background of it all. By no means am I there to be getting on people. It's to make sure that we're growing, regardless, whether it's the lowest level player on the team or the highest and most gifted player on the team. We have the pleasure of having a couple international students this year, but again, they're treated just as the rest, regardless to where they're from or their background in playing. So for me, again, the progression is only forward, and anything short of that is, I don't want to say failure, but lack of a better term, failure.